Hey, Roberto Monaco here with Influenceology. Today, I have a special guest, my brother, Garrett Gunderson. What's up, my bro?
Your son said, "Is that really your brother?"
Yes, my brother. Phoenix for you. Is she really your brother? Yeah, I know Garrett for many years. And for those who know Garrett and follow his journey, not only he transformed many lives in the space of personal development and the finances, but then also he took some time off. Yep. And you went 2 years doing comedy. And last night, during dinner, I asked, man, teach me, give me some ideas on how can I make my presentations funnier. And so I have the master here to share some tips with us today.
Sometimes it's just given to you. So yesterday when I spoke, the guys that's running the event, he's like, everybody get in here, the next speaker's coming on. You're going to want to strap on. And then I can't remember what he said after that because I just heard strap on. What he meant is strap in.
Yeah.
So I just got up and I'm like, you guys ready to be strapped on? And like everybody laughed and I just stood there awkward, right? And then they laughed and you just kind of let it breathe. Like pause and space is the key. So if anything happens, like especially like I might trip up and mess up.
Yeah.
Like once I was trying to say something, I messed up and I was just trying to say the word Viagra and I messed up and I was like, I took Viagra once. It's just like, so I just talked about the story because it's called a happy accident.
Yeah.
A happy accident. You just acknowledge what it is. And it's so much more fun if it's in the room, in the moment. I was speaking at an event recently during a dinner. Waiters are going around. One waiter's talking loud. I'm like, oh, sir, don't worry. We'll wait for you. Let's just everybody pause. Let's hear what the order is. Is that what you want? You know, like you just acknowledge. If you pretend it's not happening, it gets tense and weird. Or like sometimes maybe you go to tell a joke and it doesn't land. I go, oh, I didn't know how much I had to teach today, but I have to teach you guys when it's a joke too. And then they laugh, right? You say, oh, that was meant to be funny. And then they laugh. You have a conversation with them. And so that's what a lot of speakers, like if I'm off rhythm for a second or out of flow, like that tension will be felt by the audience. So once someone's like, Rose, is this your scarf? And it was loud, so I just said, Rose, we're dying to know. Is it your scarf? And did you guys know that this isn't Netflix? We're actually here in person, you know?
That's awesome.
Or if someone laughs like way late, I'm like, is there a Zoom delay in this place? So you acknowledge what is, number one. Number two, look at your life. What's funny about your life and situations? Like maybe you're sharing a painful story, but then you can give a little release with like perspective later on. And you know, my friend Sean Stevenson used to always say, what's funny about this? So you could always ask that. I mean, if you have kids, you've got humor for days. Like my kids just say stuff like, Dad, do you have sex with Mom every night? Well, son, I certainly try. I didn't want to disappoint you. You know, but that's just the real story, and you kind of share that. So you could also look at like, what's a different angle, or what's something that's unexpected with this, or something's funny. What else is funny that you could take it further? I like to bring, you know, the funny in threes, right?
Yeah.
Like,
oh, by the way, he shared this strategy, and maybe we recorded a different video, but he talks about just like when you use the power of three or the rule of three in speaking, he was sharing about how to stack 3 jokes. From least funny to the most funny, 1, 2, 3, and actually after explaining the strategy of applying integrating humor, he actually demonstrated several times, and then I could see the strategy. It was brilliant. One question I have for you though is this: a lot of people think, man, I have great content, I'm a great teacher, I don't have the funny gene, I'm not funny. So how would you tell people that?
Well, look, I mean. Have you ever told a story and someone laughed? Have you ever, like, to me, let's say I didn't think I was funny, I was awkward. I could make fun of myself. Self-deprecation, if you feel awkward or you're not funny, like, you could make fun of yourself, and that's really endearing to people. Or again, tell real stories that happen, and just the recounting of the story is funny. And then, look, I could have said the first time you saw me speak, I'm not a very good speaker because I wasn't a good speaker, but eventually I learned to incorporate pause.
Yeah.
Eventually I learned how to not be so monotone and change the pacing. It's a skill that you could practice. It doesn't mean that you have to be a comedian.
Yeah.
But like what's great is when you're giving a speech, people aren't expecting you to be funny.
Yes.
So it's easier. It's easier and it's a release. And every time they laugh, it's like a reset. Like I just gave an hour and 45-minute speech. And the person that was wanting me back next year, that's the new president of the organization, was like, dude, we got to give you more time. I'm like, really? He's like, yeah, 20 minutes isn't enough. That's what comedy and humor can do. Make it feel like a shorter period of time. So observation, write down things. When you tell a story, it's funny. When you rewrite that, like, and I frame it in my talks, like, what are all my tax jokes? What are all my Wall Street jokes? What are all my insurance jokes? Like, so that when I'm in the middle of that story, my retirement jokes, I can just pull one little joke and add it in, get that reset.
Love that.
Like,
that's a great strategy, because everybody can have the content into chunks. So for every chunk, you have a little joke.
That's why you could put like 10 jazz musicians together and they can play together, even if it's the first time. Because if they know what the timing is, if it's 4/4 timing, and they have their little vignettes, it may feel improvised, but they're pulling in the things that they've practiced and know and find a way to bring that together. So have your little bits, is what they call it in comedy, your little chunk, your little bit around those topics.
So I know I just got a copy of Garrett's new book, Money Unmasked. Can't wait to read it. So I know you combine two subjects, right? Money, super serious, and then humor. Why you make that connection?
I mean, I didn't really do that in that book. All that book has a lot of emotion. I did it in life because I love comedy. When we laugh, it's because we're not stuck in the past and wishing it were different and feeling regret, or not, or facing the future and worried about it. We're just in the moment. And when we can laugh, it's a spontaneous connection. And that connection can have, like, in the old days when I was just an intense yell at you speaker, someone once said, they're like, just because it's loud doesn't mean it's good. I was like, oh, that hurts, you know? But I was like, okay, so when I tell a joke, then afterwards I'm approachable. They want to talk with me. If I'm only intense, it was a bit intimidating, you know?
That's a great point. I love that.
So it's like, and then, like, there's certain things I'll talk about, like, that are really personal. Like my wife saying, well, I don't think you're as funny as you think you are. I'm like, babe, people laugh all the time when I talk. She goes, you're making them money. They're being nice, right? And so, like, I'll tell that story, and then people are like, oh, tell your wife you're funny. You're like, I don't know. And I'm like, you know, she knows I am, but she's also a harsh critic. So, like, they feel related to that, or they feel connected to that. So humor is that great reset, and we remember 3 times more when we laugh or when we're afraid. So I figure the news can scare people.
Nice.
And then I'll just make them laugh, and then they could learn when they laugh. And let's face it, only millions of people want to be educated. Only millions. But billions want to be entertained.
Amen.
So entertainment is a gateway to transformation and education. And it's challenging, but exciting. Like, that's part of where I'm refilming courses and using edutainment.
Yeah.
You know, I just got some feedback from an event last week where they actually wanted me to do comedy. They said, can you have 2 sessions in one? Laugh all the way to the bank and teach people how to use humor in their presentations, and then teach finance.
That's awesome.
And it's funny because, like, I got one review said 100,000 out of 10. Like, that was, you know, on a 10 out of 10 scale. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. But someone's like, too much humor. I mean, you're not going to please everyone. But now, too much humor will come into one of my future talks. Because if I see someone not laughing, I'm like, am I not giving you enough content? Is that what's going on here? And then I could even say, oh, well, here's a QR code. Here's some extra content to download in case my jokes took up too much of the content.
I love that.
Right? We just integrate it.
I love it. So if people watching this want to get connect with you and follow you, what's the best channel?
GarrettGunderson.com, and you can go to Musings, which is it's my blog. Or you can go to the bottom and take the quiz and figure out your money persona. Or you can put /offer after my name and get 2 of my books on me.
Nice.
So I'll probably email you once a week, let you know the things that are going on, add some value to you, and maybe I even try to sell you something here or there.
He will. All right. Much love, my bro.
Hey.